What's up, everybody? Welcome to the FanDuel Hurry Up. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Drew Dinkmeyer of DailyRoto.com to preview tonight's six-game NBA DFS slate. What's going on, Drew?
Not much. I'm excited for this six-game slate. We've got a lot of the injury information already, so we can have the best information to make the best lineups possible over on FanDuel.
Absolutely. We'll give you 3 stars and 3 values tonight that you can build your FanDuel lineups around. Let's start with James Harden, $11,700 at the Memphis Grizzlies tonight, the highest total of the night. Drew, there's no Russell Westbrook. How can you possibly get James Harden in your lineup?
Yeah, it's one of those things. When there's no Russell Westbrook, you know to play James Harden. When there's no James Harden, you know to play Russell Westbrook. This is as old as time. It used to be Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. Now it's Harden and Westbrook. And in this season, with 4 games without Russell Westbrook, James Harden has posted a usage rate of 48%. The Rockets have an implied total over 120 here. So there's no concerns from the odds makers about the absence of Russell Westbrook impacting their offensive efficiency. This is one of those spots that you just got to plug and play James Harden and build your lineups around him.
48% usage rate for James Harden without Russell Westbrook in the lineup. Enough said. Let's move over to Kawhi Leonard, $9,800 going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, similar to James Harden with no Russell Westbrook. There's no Paul George tonight for the Clippers. And Drew, how does that affect Kawhi Leonard's output for tonight?
Yeah, without Paul George this season, we've seen Kawhi Leonard's usage rate shoot up from 32% up to 36.5%. The assist rate up around 30%, and that just signifies the ball's in his hands a ton without Paul George. They really spread the floor around him with shooters, allow him to go one-on-one. The matchup tonight with Cleveland is a really favorable one as well. They're a team that struggles defensively. They're also a team playing on the second night of a back-to-back. There are some blowout concerns, but Kawhi has been playing deeper into blowouts of late. There was a game last week that they lost by 26 that he still played 35, 36 minutes and sat out the final 4 minutes of the game. So they've been riding him heavily. We've got him projected for 34 minutes, a little bit lower than what he's been playing of late due to some blowout risk. He still projects as a top power forward and priced under 10,000, one of these stars that gets you a little bit of salary relief from the other studs.
We knew coming into this NBA season that so many teams were built around duos this season, 2 pairs of stars on respective teams. Whenever one of those stars is out, you have to look to the other one. It's the same thing with James Harden, as is Kawhi Leonard here tonight. The last star that we'll be looking at is the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, hosting the New York Knicks, $11,300. Drew, I don't know if you've seen, but the Knicks under Mike Miller have been a little bit more competitive.
They have, and they'll need that to unlock Giannis's upside. The challenge with projecting Giannis is he's one of these guys that in competitive games, the minutes get up to 34, 35. But in these blowouts, which Milwaukee is in plenty of, they have one of the biggest point differentials in the league. His minutes sometimes sag into the mid-20s. And so that's the big concern tonight. A lot of blowout risk with a big favorite at home. But the small forward position is always a thin position, and Giannis is going to be really under-owned compared to James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. So if you want to be a little bit different in tournaments tonight, look to Giannis Antetokounmpo. He has the same upside of these guys. It's just a little bit more minutes volatility, but it'll come at way less ownership.
Very, very sneaky that Drew Dinkmeyer is looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo tonight. And I have a little nugget for you here, Drew. In the month of January, the Bucks' margin of victory is just plus 6.7, whereas for the rest of the season, that is at plus 12.29. So perhaps the Knicks could actually keep this game a little bit closer.
That's what we're hoping for, to unlock that big upside from Giannis Antetokounmpo at much lower ownership than James Harden and Kawhi. So consider that move for tournaments.
Let's go, Knicks. Hopefully they can keep this game closer tonight and unlock that potential that Drew is talking about when it comes to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's move over to our 3 values of the night. We're really going to focus on the Houston Rockets with no Russell Westbrook here. Start off with Daniel House, just $4,000 going up against the Memphis Grizzlies. Drew, Daniel House has been inconsistent. Are you just taking the value here because there's no Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, 120 plus implied total. We know James Harden's going to score a lot, but he's not going to score 120. So somebody else has to do the work here. And the most likely guys to do it are going to be the shooters that spread out the floor and get those opportunities. A game against Memphis also brings a lot of transition. And Memphis is a team that will turn the ball over and give up those steals and blocks that can really help elevate your FanDuel scores. So with the price tag around 4,000 for guys like Daniel House, Eric Gordon, Austin Rivers, who we'll talk a little bit about as well. Someone from this group is going to have a good game and blow away that price tag. And you want to have exposure to them both in primary lineups, but also in tournament lineups if you're making a bunch. You want to have Harden with at least one of these secondary shooters because someone's going to get hot and boost that assist rate for James Harden tonight.
If you want to pay up for the Hardens, the Giannis Antetokounmpos, and the Kawhi Leonards tonight, you got to find some value, and the way to do that is in the Houston Rockets. We're looking at Daniel House at $4,000. Drew, you just mentioned the name Austin Rivers. You want to get one of these Houston Rockets in there. You think someone's going to get going. Someone's going to get hot in this game. Austin Rivers, minimum salary at just $3,500. Do you think that you could play both Austin Rivers and Daniel House together? Is that a viable strategy?
I think you could. I think it's probably better to max one of these guys, but you could certainly find a way that two of them, because they're so cheap, whether it's House, Gordon, or Rivers, and those are the three that I'd consider most strongly, you can find a way that two of them go off because they only need 20 to 25 FanDuel points to kind of make everything else work. They're at relatively thin positions. The point guard position has lost a lot of kind of top end value on the slate with Luka priced way up. Ricky Rubio is not going to play tonight, and his backup is a shooting guard option. So point guard is one of these spots that it's a little bit easier to save that salary, and that's why we think Austin Rivers is a viable play at 3,500.
You might not want to play both Daniel House and Austin Rivers, but based on the value that they provide with their salaries being so low, you're going to want to get one of Rivers or Daniel House in your lineups tonight. Let's move over to a game that we haven't talked about at all yet today. That is the Atlanta Hawks hosting the Phoenix Suns. Honestly, I wish Greg were here because he's from Maryland. He loves to talk about his Terps. We've got Kevin Huerter here at $4,800 going up against the Suns. Drew, why do you like Kevin Huerter tonight?
Yeah, Herter's been playing really well of late, and I thought there would be a little bit of additional upside in the hidden injury value, but the Hawks have already said Trae Young's going to play tonight. So if Trae Young was out, there would have been extra upside for Huerter, but price below 5,000, he's still good enough with Trae Young. He's been playing mid-30s minutes routinely. Phoenix is a team that defensively they're going to take a step back tonight without Ricky Rubio most likely, and those matchups against like Devin Booker are pretty favorable ones from an offensive perspective for Kevin Huerter. So as long as he can stay out of foul trouble guarding Devin Booker, we think the upside is there. Price below 5,000 is really good tag. And this is another one of these game environments that should be up-tempo, lots of points available. It's certainly not one of the star-studded ones that we have on this slate, but it's one that you can certainly hunt for value, and Kevin Huerter fits that mold.
The upside for Kevin Huerter might not be massive, but he's been really consistent in his second season with the Atlanta Hawks. So if you do need some value at that shooting guard position, Kevin Huerter at $4,800 looks like a fine one to me. For Drew Dinkmeyer, I am Frank Stanfield. Thank you so much for watching the FanDuel Hurry Up, and good luck on tonight's 6-game NBA DFS slate.